How would you be feeling if you were Joe Gomez right now? Because every Liverpool fan we have on, and we're about to speak to one, by the way, they say how Konate, his form has dipped, and he's out of contract at the end of the season. Joe Gomez is a centre-back, and he never starts.
Yeah.
How are you feeling if you're him? But you knocking on the door saying, well, come on, I'm here. Everyone says we need a centre-back, I'm here.
Yeah, I like Joe Gomez. He's a South East London boy as well. He's from near me as well, so I always look out for him to do well. And I agree with you. I think he's almost become like that forgotten man at Liverpool, and I think he's got a lot to offer. I think he's got all the tools. You know, it was a few years ago they were talking about him being the next centre-back at England. But I think also another biggest problem is Kirkez since he's come in as well. Zoboslai's been playing right back. I like Frimpong. I think he's got a bit to offer as well. But
Connor Bradley as well.
But they're trying to, Arne Slot's trying to kind of fit everybody in, and he almost has to make difficult decisions and maybe leave out certain players that he might not. McAllister isn't having his greatest of seasons, and these things do happen. Liverpool have quality players, and I've no doubt that when they start firing on all cylinders, you know, they'll come good again. But the issue isn't just the centre-back position. It's a lot throughout the team that haven't been performing to the levels we know they can.
Is this the time, though, for them to get their season going? This time last year, Liverpool hit the accelerator between the end of the November international break and the start of the March 2025 international break. Liverpool went unbeaten, taking 42 points from 18 games. Arsenal, they were near perfect, but could do nothing to catch them. Mikel Arteta's side only conceded 12 goals between November and March, and only lost one game. Manchester City, though, they're down there in 11th in our time frame table here. They lost 7 times, finding themselves around mid-table. This is where the intensity of the season really ramps up.
But Jimmy, let me start with you. Liverpool 8th in the Premier League table, the champions, 8 points behind Arsenal. Are you writing off their title chances then?
I'm not writing it off, but it is very difficult. They need to find some kind of form. Nobody at the beginning of the season would have expected that they would be where they are now, especially at the start that they had. But 8 points is a lot. Is a lot. That means that Arsenal needs to lose lots of matches. Man City needs to lose lots of matches, and normally that is difficult. Look, everything is possible, but I think that concentration need to be first at their concept, their way of play, their way forward. I think they should forget about the championship now. They're not playing well. There are too many problems in the team. You know, so that needs to be resolved first.
I don't think Salah's stepping up after he signed his new contract. It just feels like that's just gone cold for us. Mo just doesn't seem to be producing at all. He seems selfish at times. You know, he looks like he's overthinking everything. He looks frustrated on the pitch. And when Mo Salah's not playing well for Liverpool, you just feel like you've got no hope, especially when you've got Gakpo, who looks really predictable. You know, he cuts in from the left and you just know what he's going to do and he's going to miss it most of the time. Ekitike has stepped forward a little bit, but he's took a little bit of a dip. Alexander Isak, signing him and nothing coming of it so far. I do have full faith that he'll be able to step up soon and, you know, get to fitness and stuff like that and be able to perform at his highest standard as we've seen in the Premier League from him before. But it's a mix of bad defending from Konate and Kirkez and players like that, and then also not being able to score goals. It's just none of it. I don't know if it's an injury to Alisson as well, but then I feel like I'm making excuses because I've not sort of warmed myself to Mamadashvili yet. It feels like it's a mix of everything and nothing's going right, and I don't know where to start.
Do you agree that it's essential that Liverpool sign a centre-back in January rather than wait till the summer?
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer, but I do think their biggest problem this year, they've got too many out-of-form players. I don't think if they get Mark Gahey, that's automatically going to problem-solve the issues they have. I think, you know, Ekitike, I think, has been a really good signing. You look at the players that they brought in, Wirtz, there's no denying he hasn't been good enough yet. Virgil van Dijk hasn't had his best season. Mo Salah, you know, so I feel like the signings that have come in, like Isak, hasn't really got going yet either. So I think there's just a lot of out-of-form players at Liverpool. I don't think that is their biggest problem. Virgil van Dijk and Konate haven't had their best seasons, but if you look around the team in its entirety, you know, you're always trying to find issues. Look at Liverpool last year. They won the league, they ran away with it, they were fantastic. And I say it all the time, Tom, honestly, the amount of stuff they've had to deal with off the field, I do think it's made a massive difference to them on the field. You've only got to look at Andy Robertson the other day, talking about Diogo Jota. I'm not making excuses for them, but honestly, they've been through so much, that football club. And I do think these things can have a domino effect and a knock-on effect psychologically. That's what I see anyway, because the difference between last season and this season is night and day. Arne Slot hasn't changed his tactics. You know, he's brought in players that he thought were going to be a step up from what they had. But I think Luis Diaz has been one of the biggest losses to that team. I really do. And I said it on the show last week that I felt like, you know, when a player wants to leave, they want to leave. But I don't think they did enough to try and keep him. You know, he probably wanted guaranteed first team football, but he's the type of player that I think you can guarantee that. Trent as well.
Lost him.
Trent leaving. Mo Salah looks a shadow of himself. And I said last year, give Mo Salah, give him a 10-year contract, give him whatever he wants, because he's Mo Salah.
We don't spend money like that, but now all of a sudden they've opened their wallet. We're starting to think, oh, can we go and get Semenyo, get Gay? All these thoughts are going on. But I do think AFCON's probably an opportunity for Slot to be able to play without Salah and see what life is without Mo Salah and see how we can get that to work in a way, because it's not working. And, you know, Florian Wirtz isn't really stepping up. You know, he just looks like he can't take the physicality of the Premier League. I mean, he's creating a lot of chances, but I don't know if it's the people in front of him that are failing. You know, they're not putting it in the back of the net. So it just feels like a mix of everything at the minute and nothing's going right.
So, Jimmy, if the answer then in January is to throw more money at it, what's the biggest area of concern for you in this Liverpool team right now?
I don't think that is the answer, throwing more money at it. I think that they have got lots of quality. I think if you're going to play with Salah, Isak, Wirtz and Gakpo or Etikite on the left, all four want to have the ball. All four want to be important. All four want to be the man. All four want to be the boss there. It's too much. It's too much. That's the problem. Salah, normally, when they have been successful, Salah was there and everybody was playing for Salah. He was getting all the balls. And he was missing chances as well. But the beauty of football is he was scoring goals. So the missed chances, people were not really talking about them. But he was still missing chances, you know? But
we're still seeing like.
But he's not scoring as regular as he used to, and he's playing with a face that it's like somebody has slapped him in the face. You know, he doesn't look happy. He doesn't have a smile on his face. And if you look at before, his expressions were totally different, you know, and that might be the problem. He might have to sit on the bench. He might not. I don't know. But some decisions have to be made up front, because when Liverpool was successful, that front four, front three, they worked so hard, especially when they didn't have the ball. That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone. You know? Every club in the Premier League, they were scared of them when they had the ball, because they would set up in a certain way and they had triggers and they would go bang, 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 and they would win the ball really high up and they would kill those teams off. That's gone. That's why the back four have to defend way more now.
How important is it that Liverpool sign a centre-back?
Oh, it's absolutely imperative. We have to get a centre back in, and hope you guys are good, by the way. I just feel like I look at the back line, and for me the wing back areas are exposed, and it's exposing our centre backs a lot as well. And I feel like I heard the Joe Gomez section. I feel like he probably should be getting a run out, whether that's at right back, and we've seen him have a stint at left back in previous seasons. He was one of the best left backs when he did have a cameo there under Jurgen Klopp in the last year, but he's our only fit centre back, so he has to be used so sparingly. We're in like a catch-22 situation, because we play him, we have no centre backs on the bench, he gets injured, we're in a crisis again. we don't play him, it's kind of like, well, when is he going to get the minutes? Even though he probably deserves the minutes. And if he's not going to get any minutes right now, when is he going to get the minutes? So I think because of Leonie's ACL, like Kara said, I think we're in a really sticky situation.
So is Gahey's the one on everybody's mind because we know that Liverpool wanted him? Is Gahey the only person on your shortlist?
No, I mean, Schlotterbeck from Dortmund. I think he's a really good player. 25 years of age. I think he's 25 years of age as well. Got a lot of experience for, a centre back who you'd say is a little bit younger compared to like the seniors. And I just feel like he's a good mould, but he's probably more of a Van Dijk successor, probably more than a centre back just to come in now to fill out what we need to do. I actually think we need 2 centre backs. I think we need 2 centre backs because. Sorry, go on. I can see there.
No, I'm ready to go. But like Montel, good morning first and foremost. But like, this isn't the only issue though, is it? Do you not think this is like the thing people are talking about because they're trying to figure out why Liverpool have been so poor this season? Like, there's so many out of form players, isn't there? Like, is that not a bigger concern than looking at these centre back positions? Because ultimately, Virgil van Dijk's one of the best centre backs in the world. Yes, he hasn't been performing to those levels. Konate last year and the season before was decent. We all have runs of form that are not, we're not in form, right? But the issue, my issue with Liverpool, the bigger problem is the fact there's so many out of form players.
For me, it's the tactics. I think the manager's really struggling to make things work. And that's all over the pitch. If all of your best players are out of form, for me, you have to look at the one factor, and that is the manager. Our wide options, the way it leaves us exposed, that we play bagel ball. There's nothing in the middle. There's absolutely nothing in the middle. And if you look at our wing backs as well,
you say bagel ball.
Yeah, it's called bagel ball.
I love
nothing
that.
In the middle. There's nothing in the middle. There's no midfield. McAllister's fallen off a cliff for some reason. As I said, Kirkes and whether it's Frimpong or Bradley, even though Bradley's injured, these wing backs are either they're always inverting and they're not inverting wing backs. These aren't wing backs. Kirkes never inverted a day in his life. Why now have you all of a sudden decided for him to invert? Last season, the wing backs weren't inverting. We sat in 2 banks of 4 off the ball and teams couldn't score. We lost 1 game before we won the league. 1 or 2 games max. I think it was 1 game before we mathematically...
It was Forest at home, yeah.
It was Forest at home. I think after that it was Fulham away. So why now have we lost X amount of games and it's not even Christmas? Because Liverpool are at a moment where with the money we've spent, you think we can get it wrong again? No chance. There's no way we can get it wrong again or look like we're in a situation where I've spent the money, but looks like we're going to have to play the guys we already have because we can't. We are defending champions and we are 8th with £450 million spent. Honestly, what I'm seeing tactically, it's not good enough for me. And I don't think the manager has to change the whole system, but there has to be tweaks that need to be made. We move the ball so slowly, it doesn't look like we have What's our style of play? Can you guys tell us our style of play? Go on. What's our style of play?
I was going to the ex-player there.
No, it's true, because you look at the players, but then again, who's that on? Arne Slot or the signings? Because obviously there's been talk a lot about him not being able to make the signings that he wanted, and ultimately, Montel, Isak hasn't worked out and Wirtz hasn't worked out. Welcome to Man United fans' world where we sign signings that just don't work out. That doesn't really historically happen to Liverpool, does it? And your style of play is very different without a Trent in the team. Mo Salah's game has to adjust. Those Gravenberch this year hasn't been great. Those types of players that I think stepped up for you last year, and I think I said it to a Liverpool fan on the show last week. You guys are doing what I'm sure a lot of the fans thought would happen last season after Klopp left. Does that make sense? It's almost been like you win the league, Arne Slot comes in, does a fantastic job. This is where I think a lot of people thought you were going to be at last year, but then he wins the league, and then, now it's almost like, where do we go from here? Tactics last year was spot on, in conundrum with the players, in combination with the players that you had. So, it might seem like it's all a lot and a panic mode and all that, but you still have top quality players.
Oh yeah, I don't worry. Long term, I promise you, Wirtz is way too good technically. We've seen what Isak can do. It's not a long term thing when I worry about these players. The issue for me is that the manager had it spot on, and now he's implementing his. Now I'm not saying it wasn't his own tactics last season, but now they're actually his tactics. This is his team, and it looks like he's a little bit he looks out of depth in my opinion. And when we're losing games, he's bringing on defenders. I love Joe Gomez to bits. He's never scored. He scored a goal when I was in college. So that's the last time he signed for Liverpool, and he hasn't scored a goal in 10 years. Yes, he's a defender. Why would you bring on Joe Gomez when we need 2 goals? Why are you bringing on Endo when we need a goal? We need to score a goal. The substitutions are negative. The players look like they don't know what's going on. And yes, there has to be an adaptation time. But you know the thing is at Man United, you don't really get the adaptation time because of the size of the club. No matter what you're winning, you always have to go and improve and make sure when things aren't going well, there's a bottom level.
Because we're a bigger club.
Yeah, no, well, we've got to have that conversation. But generally speaking, my concern does lie more with the manager, and that's not to say the players need to improve. But if Isak's getting 8 touches a game and then getting taken off in the 70th minute, I'd be annoyed as well. We don't give the striker the ball, and even Ekatike's got 1 goal in 8 games. The manager needs to find a solution. Otherwise, for me,
have I got time to come in tactically or not?
Yeah, go on.
Antoine Semenyo to Liverpool?
I'd say yes, because he's obviously not a big fan of Chiesa. The strength of Liverpool last year really, I mean, Diaz, who played a lot of games centre forward, but Diaz played his best stuff off the left, and they didn't really replace him. Jota could play wide on occasion when he needed to. And if you're thinking about Salah and you're thinking right side long term, Semenyo's equally happy on the right as he is on the left. You've got African nations coming up if you wanted to try and get him in January. Chiesa can play on the right and Frimpong can, but I don't think Slot fancies either of them to play that position. I may be wrong with Frimpong. Maybe we've seen him play there once, and he struggled a bit on the night when he played there. So, do they need him? Yes. They could certainly, he'd enhance their forward line for sure.